This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. Man, this is the first rainy Saturday, Matt, I think we've had in about a year. Pretty nice out. We are Bumper to Bumper Radio, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. Today is Father's Day weekend because it needs to really be dragged out. It starts Friday when work is over, and it ends Sunday night.
Midnight.
When I fall asleep. So happy Father's Day weekend to all you fathers out there. And just so you know, today we're going to be talking a little bit later on in the show for those of you who still have to go shopping for your father about maybe some gift ideas, what you might get the mechanic in your life. If he's not a mechanic, he still needs something for his car.
Chances are he has a car.
Fuzzy
so it doesn't
dice.
Have to be fuzzy dice, a hula hoop chick on the
hula girl.
Hula girl on the dash, something like that.
For sure. So. But we're here taking your phone calls, helping you with your car at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, and you can text us at 411923. And today, Matt, check engine lights. What do you do when your check engine light comes on?
I freak out. I call the tow truck. I pull over. I call 4 shops and ask them how much, and no.
Well, the thing that comes up on the show all the time is, we say, did the check engine light come on? That's one of the first questions we ask, out of every third phone call. And then the next thing is, well, did you get the codes read in by anybody? Or sometimes they already have the code. They go, my car's got a code PO928, whatever the number is. And so what does that mean when the check engine light comes on? Some cars, it's not just the check engine light that comes on, but when the check engine light comes on, it's also the vehicle stability control, the ABS light comes on. Mm-hmm. It's like a Christmas tree. And so, Toyota's the one that I think about. Everyone freaks out like every light on the dashboard came on. It's pretty much, it could be like a no big a deal, but every light on the dashboard.
That an Italian thing? It was a no big a deal?
It slipped in there. Just try and hide it.
All right, Riccio. It's a no big a deal, Well, yeah, oftentimes it's not a no big deal, but, just because you have more lights come on doesn't mean there's a bigger problem. The thing with the Toyotas, for example, everything's computer controlled on the car. And I'll make up a number just to give perspective, but a class I was recently at with Bosch, let's just say there's 32,000 lines of code in the computer system that launched the space shuttle back in the 80s. A modern car has 200,000 lines of code. Don't hold me to the numbers, but I'm talking about the difference, just the ratio. It's a much more complicated system in a car today than the space shuttle as far as the control systems. So they're all linked together. We're using fiber optics in some cases, networking them with data lines. So when one system isn't working, oftentimes the other systems, like the brakes and the contraction control, they rely on the engine control, because those systems may not work if the engine's not performing optimally. And that's really what's happened when the check engine light comes on. The computer's determined something's not right. Usually that something has to do with emissions control or the way the car drives, but not always. You can have a check engine light come on and have zero symptom.
I was driving with a guy in his truck the other day, and I drive a lot of cars every week. People come in, what do you think of my car? Let's go take it for a drive. We go take it for a drive. And he was talking about the check engine light. He goes, well, the check engine light comes on and it goes off, and I think it has to do something with this oil leak because it came on 8 months ago and they fixed an oil leak and now it's not coming on anymore. But, I think the oil leak's coming back. And I'm like, there's really 200 different reasons why that check engine light can come on. It's just one light. It looks like an engine, if an engine even looked like that anymore. A
little silhouette,
And so people think that thing, well, it's definitely coming on for that reason. But there are 200 different reasons, and I'm pulling that number, like your spatial number, kind of out of the air. But realistically, there is hundreds of different reasons why that light can come on. So it doesn't always mean this. There's a it's the same thing. The light doesn't discriminate between, a problem with an oxygen sensor or a problem with a transmission. You can have a transmission problem and turn that light on, and an oxygen sensor is completely different. It's tied to the motor.
Well, and the only thing the check engine light really discriminates on, and that is a misfire. When the car is misfiring, that means it's just, the spark's not sparking maybe, or the cylinder's not, it's not burning all the fuel. So that raw fuel goes right through the exhaust, and that will ruin a catalytic converter. Back in the early 80s, late 70s, when catalytic converters first started coming out, I remember as a kid seeing them like these cars with this pulling over on the side of the road and the thing's glowing, all that fuel being pumped in there. So when the check engine light is flashing, you can really cause problems. That's the one you don't really need to get the car towed, but you need to not drive it very much and get it to the shop. That's the one thing. But you're right, Dave. It doesn't change color or doesn't flash twice and say, hey, you got 2 codes or there's another problem. So you've got to be careful. There's certain times it's perfectly fine to ignore the check engine light, too.
Well, I had a customer the other day. Well,
maybe. Ignoring, but go ahead.
Well, think about it, because a lot of the Acme Auto Parts say, come on in, we'll do a courtesy scan. You go in there, and I know you do them at your shop, and we do them at our shop. We'll go out in the parking lot and scan and give you a code. And the code is not necessarily a diagnostic. It's kind of an indicator about what system there's an issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have cars come in and it'll say, the code will tell me this piece is bad. Great. I start checking it out, and guess what? That piece is not bad, but the computer's bad. Mm-hmm. So it's an indicator, and it kind of helps us point in the right direction, which area we're in, but it is not the answer to everything. In the older the newer the car, to me, the more accurate a code is.
Yes.
Older cars, it was like real gray.
Well, yeah, and there was programming issues to change when the light would come on. But, hey, we had a Chevy truck the other day. We're rebuilding the engine in it. It was sitting there misfiring. The car, you could visibly see it misfiring. It's making noise like crazy. But we have the computer hooked up, and we're looking at tons of data in the background, not your little code reader, but real data. That thing is not picking up any misfires at all. The engine's running horrible. So not always when you have a problem either is the check engine light going to come on.
That's the one thing is like I'll call somebody up and say, hey, your car's misfiring. Well, there's no codes. Yeah, right. That's what we call a no-code diagnosis. And people will tell me, they say, well, how come you could figure it out when it was at the dealership? They said they couldn't figure it out. How did you? Well, yeah, there was no codes in there. So I see this once in a while. Technician, low-lying fruit, we can figure that out pretty easy. Sometimes, there's times when there's not really a problem. Say, keep driving. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if it gets worse. Mm-hmm. It's either going to get worse, stay the same, or get better. So some guys, if you don't want to really take the time because there's no code, so it's going to be a little harder to diagnose. It's going to be some more. That's when he's going to earn his keep. Mm-hmm. To diagnose that car. And that's when you're going to have to spend a little bit more money. So if you're in the frame of mind, or if you go to one of those shops that doesn't charge for diagnostics, allegedly, there's no free lunch. You're paying for it, trust me. Somewhere. But if they're not getting paid, they're not going to work. So they might say, hey, Sal, we just don't see any problems. Wait till it gets worse. Well, they're doing that because maybe they're working for free. And so they're not interested in taking the time to go through. Where if you are paying what you ought to pay for a diagnostic job, somewhere between probably no less than $100 in most cases, people will take the time and go through a specific process. And I think as technicians, and I'm guilty of it myself, and I'll make the comparison to a physician. My wife's a doctor. I'll look at a car and go, oh, yeah, just got the coil. Coil's bad, and we don't do all the testing because we think we want to help the customer. We think where my wife will, or any other physician will look at a patient and say, well, that's it, but we still are going to run all the tests because we have to be sure. And my point is there we can sometimes get the blinders on as technicians trying to not to have to charge so much in testing and diagnostic fees, and we're wrong. Sometimes you call a coil or something, and as these cars get higher mileage, on it, let's just pick a 60 or 70,000, 80,000 mile car maybe, and it comes on, it has a misfire, chances are it's going to have a bad coil, depending on the car. Now, let's fast forward 100,000 miles, take a 160, 80,000 mile car. 10 people have worked on it. Spark plugs have changed 3 times. The oil hasn't been changed on a regular basis. Some have missed. Well, you might think that's an easy diagnostic job. You go in there, oh, yeah, a misfire. Those are easy. It's got to be a plug or a coil or, maybe. No, now we start seeing mechanical problems. It's not always an electronic problem causing your computerized failure. Mechanical problems, too. So, as a takeaway, the check engine light, if it's flashing, that's a bigger deal. Mm-hmm. If it's not flashing, it doesn't mean you got to slam on the brakes, pull in the shop. It lets you know there is a problem. We do need to get it checked out. Mm-hmm. If you are going to utilize the free, Acme Auto Parts for a code thing, sometimes that could be helpful because they say, okay, what is something related to the gas cap or the emissions? Yeah. Nothing's going to keep me from going, cross town tomorrow.
It's a good barometer to go get that code read. Yeah.
But it's not the cure-all in the right answer. So, but the thing that I notice about cars, they're changing. You can't skip oil changes, You got to take care of these cars. The other thing that comes up is batteries. You're talking about this complex thing that has more electronics in it than a space shuttle, in a sense. And you're telling me you want to put a bad battery in that thing and run that car? Mm-hmm. You can run a car on a bad battery. You don't want to run a car on a bad battery.
Especially now. I mean, you're running the AC, got a compressor clutch engaged. That takes amperage to keep that engaged. You're running 2 radiator fans now because the AC is on. You
2 kids in the back seat with iPhones plugged in.
You got a blower motor going in the front. Maybe you have rear AC. You've got this huge electrical draw. And that battery, they fall below a certain voltage. The computers go, whoa, Charlie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
we're not doing anything. So that's the reason, Dave, I know you do it at Tri-City Transmission. We do it at our shop. We test the battery on every single car that comes in. That's the first. There's no go. You don't get to collect $200 and pass go if your battery isn't good in the shop. So always have them checked. Ask for an interstate battery.
We stock over a dozen interstate models at our shop, and it's the first thing that happens when we're checking these cars out if it's got a bad battery. So anyhow, when we come back, we've got Robert and wide open lines. We're going to help you with your car at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. And you can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Having an accident is stressful. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Hi, Leo Petrozzella for Campus Body Salon. The right to choose a repair facility is yours, not the insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies, but we work for you. Campus Body Salon, Bumper to Bumper Radio approved and independently family owned and operated since 1973. Check out our Cash for Your Crash program where we pay you 10% off of your repair up to $1,000. Campus Body Salon, the best care in collision repair.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
That's our closing line, Pops.
I know, Jeff. Just reinforcing that we're full-service auto repair.
At Kurt's Auto Repair, we do it all, including diesel. We have the passion, training, equipment, and expertise for diesel. Our techs are ASE certified for diesel and advanced diesel diagnostics. Toy hauling, horse trailering, off-roading, or work trucking, we've got you covered.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's. Check us out at mycarhurts.com.
In my head, everyone here, really cares and, is really wanting to find out more of what's going on. So they're putting in a little extra effort to make sure that, as they are the people giving us this news, that's a big deal. And, we trust what they're saying.
Arizona's Morning News, weekday mornings, 5 to 9. Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen, Dave Riccio by my side. Every single Saturday at 11, we're here to help you with your car. The way we can do that is you can just listen to us if you want. We'll give you some tips. You can always find our shows if you go to our website, bumpertobumperradio.com. There's a list of all the podcasts, all the different shows. You can search them by topic, I believe, and go back. And if you missed something or missed part of today, we started off talking about check engine lights. What do we do? We freak out. What does it mean? What's the problem? We covered a lot of that. But, Dave, one thing we didn't cover with the check engine light thing is just, again, another tip for you. If you're driving a 1996 and newer car, you will not pass emissions. Don't even go to the test station if you have a check engine light on. That is an automatic failure for emissions test. And on top of that, they're semi-smart down there. So don't think you can clear the code out of the computer and turn off the check engine light or unplug the bulb or something like that and then go through emissions. Because when the codes are cleared or anytime the battery is disconnected, for example, it resets what's called readiness monitors in the computer. There's 8 different systems that are constantly being tested, and 6 or 7, depending on the year, of those systems have to pass their own self-test before you can pass emissions.
You got to at least get a B+ if you can go through.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get a B+ to pass. And the other thing, too, is, if you're out car shopping and stuff, take a look. Your check engine light should always come on when you turn the key on and then go away. Always should come on. So that's a sign on a used car lot, or if you're buying from Joe Schmo that you're meeting on the corner off the Craigslist ad. Hey, go run the car.
Joe Schmo's a good guy, man. Don't pick on him.
I wonder if there's a Joe Schmo on the phone. Look, is there a name? So if we can help you with your car, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. If you like to text, you can shoot us one of those at 411-923. And, Dave, you got your fingers working? You're going?
Yeah, we're going to take Robert. He's got a 2003 Dodge Ram 1500. How can we help you, Robert? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. 2003 Dodge Ram 1500, about 140,000 on it. When you turn the key on, the transmission temperature light and the off overdrive light, they blink on and off 2-3 times, go away, and when you're driving, it doesn't come back on. It's only at startup.
They blink, and the trans temp light coming on is kind of weird. Have you gone to Acme Auto Parts and had them plug into it or scanned it yourself?
Actually, I read the codes. I'm a YouTube guy, and I read the codes, and it is just throwing 2 different codes for the temperature sensor circuit. And, also a lot of people say that it could just be, low or dirty transmission fluid. I've had a transmission fluid service done on it and didn't change a thing.
Well, the beauty of the transmission business for me is there's an awful lot of terrible information on the Internet about transmissions. So YouTube certified or not, you got to be a little bit leery of that. So trans temp light, 03, 04, 05, there was some issues with Chrysler computers. And so what I would be looking at when I would plug into it, I'd be looking at what the transmission temperature gauge reads, because there's some faulty computers out there, and I don't know if 03 falls into that, but it's pretty close, and it'll read like 1200 degrees. Right? And your car's stone cold, you start it up, it ain't no 1200 degrees. But that's going to be an issue maybe in the computer logic. We had that Jeep, same computer. Matt had a Jeep from his shop that he sent over to my shop, and it had a bad computer. So there's a whole batch of bad computers right in that year range in Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep products.
Well, and the problem with some of those is we're not getting good replacement computers.
I know.
Even from the manufacturer. I mean, you can get Cardone or any of these other rebuilders, and they're just, who knows, that thing was shipped all over the country and beat up. And I think they generally do a good job, but there's something about these computers.
I think if the processor's bad, it's a processor they can't really repair or replace, or it's available to buy. Some things like that come up. But, that's frustrating. But if it's related to the temperature, I mean, the things you are going to check is what is the voltage from that sensor. We've got the code. We know kind of what direction it is, but dirty transmission fluid never made a transmission run hot.
And as technicians now, we're almost researchers and librarians as much as we are, diagnosers. I had a Honda I was helping one of my techs with the other day. It just had an AC problem. It ended up having a bad engine control computer because the computer wants to know that the AC is on, and that's actually what engages it. So just to go start diving off, reading the code, I mean, you need to read what sets the code and why they come on. Then you need to understand how the system works. And I always say you're not going to go on a road trip without looking at your map. To me, the map is the wiring diagram. I'm going to study that for 15 or 20 minutes oftentimes. What's connected? How are these circuits related? Do they share a ground? Do they share a relay? Do they share something? Any component? Is there any common denominator? So it's very you have to have a process.
For sure. Well, thanks so much for the call, Robert. We're going to go with Joanne. She's got a 2003 Cadillac Seville. Hey, Joanne, how can we help you on your Caddy? Hey, Joanne, you there? All right, we're going to come back to Joanne, so we're going to go with Leon. He's got a 2012 Audi 85 convertible, and I was thinking 1985 Audi. But,
so it's an A5 convertible.
A5 convertible.
A5.
Yeah.
Okay. How can we help you, Leon?
Well, I just got a check engine light like you're talking about, and I went, of course, to Acme, as you say. And after I got my Dynamite kit, I got a P0299, which is a turbo boost code. And the turbos on these things are just god-awful expensive. And it looks like it's probably a wastegate issue.
Uh-huh.
They tend to get rattly. And just wondering, this is, a car that I've only had serviced by the dealership. But boy, they're just god-awful expensive. Is it something that I'm a guy who used to do all my own work. Is that something I could tackle, or is there just, the new computerized stuff has got me totally baffled. And, $3,000 to replace a turbo, it's a bit much. So just curious of your advice. Could I go to more of a shade tree mechanic on that, or is it definitely a dealership type fix or something I can do?
No, Leon, it's not something that you need to go to the dealer on. This is Matt, by the way. We work on a ton of these at my shop, tons of Volkswagens and Audis. But the way you're talking about this, you're talking about a $3,000 turbo, but you don't have this is the code describes the system. It's not saying that you have a bad turbo. It's telling you that there's just not getting enough boost. And these things really don't lose turbos very often at all. So if it's not getting proper boost, there's a wastegate control solenoid, a turbo control valve. Sometimes you might have a bad connection. It could be something as simple as a broken vacuum line. So definitely stay away from the shade tree mechanic. You don't have to go to the dealer. I mean, we can do all the programming. We have all the diagnostic equipment. I mean, most of the bumper-to-bumper shops do. Can you tackle it yourself? Nuts and bolts wise, but what I don't want you to do is be jumping into doing something that doesn't need to be done. You heard me mention the Honda at my shop that had a bad computer. You know how that conversation started, Dave?
Sell me an AC compressor.
My AC quit working. How much for a compressor? I said, well, how much do you think? Well, Hondas, they go through a lot of compressors. I said, yeah,
they do.
If you had a CRV,
right.
But so you're going to determine if you're going to keep your Honda if the AC is more than $1,000 to fix. Why don't we find out? Wouldn't you hate like heck to put a compressor on there and it didn't need it?
So many of those phone calls I get that are just off base, like, whoa, pump the brakes. Let's find out what's wrong first before we make any serious financial decisions. So anyhow, when we come back, we still got open lines at 602-277-5827. I know my dad's listening, Dennis Riccio, so happy Father's Day. And maybe we'll let Matt talk to his father later.
Yes, I will say hi.
And we're going to give you some gift ideas for Father's Day. We'll be right back.
Honesty and integrity. It's the only option. Hi, Spencer Doucet for H&I Automotive. H is for honesty, and I is for integrity. We built our business on these two principles. We opened our first shop in Mesa in 2009, and with the support from our loyal customers, we've now grown to a second, state-of-the-art location in Gilbert. 2 locations, same principles. Quality service at a great value, backed by an industry-leading 60-month, 60,000-mile parts and labor warranty. Check us out at HandIAutomotive.com.
It's time to celebrate Dad with the gift he really wants. The gift of golf from PGA Tour Superstore. We're celebrating Dad with savings throughout all of our stores. And the Bunker to Bunker Golf Show will be broadcasting live Saturday, June 16th from 7 to 9 a.m. at the Chandler location at the northeast corner of Warner and Arizona Avenue. Doors open at 9 a.m. but come by early on Saturday the 16th as the first 20 customers through the doors will receive a $20 gift card at all 4 Phoenix and Tucson locations.
Hi, I'm Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission. Well, you may have come to know us for being a transmission expert. What you may not know is that our customers regularly ask us why we don't perform repairs to the rest of the vehicle. You guys are so great. Why work on just the transmission? Well, the requests became hard to ignore, and 3 years ago, we began to build an infrastructure to perform general automotive repair. We weren't going to do general repair if we couldn't be great at it. So in 2013, we began the soft opening of Tri-City Auto Repair on Smith Road. We brought on ASE Master Technicians to work side by side with our Master Transmission Technicians. The combination of the best in both of these trades has created a synergy that allows us not only to fix your transmission, but to service and repair your whole car, and to do it well. Let's face it, the modern car has become so integrated. We believe all of our expert knowledge puts us ahead of the curve. Find us at TricityTransmission.com or TempeAutoRepairShop.com. That's TempeAutoRepairShop.com.
Do you know a Valley veteran who you could honor with a once-in-a-lifetime experience? Go to GrandMarshalAZ.com and nominate them to become a Grand Marshal at the Phoenix Veterans Day Parade on November 12th. That's GrandMarshalAZ.com. Show your appreciation for those in our community who deserve it the most, our veterans.
KTAR's Honor Our Heroes is presented by Sanderson Ford, Arizona's news station. KTAR, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic now.
KTAR News Time, it's 11:30. I'm Taylor Kinnerup. Here's our top story. A woman in her 80s is driving around Columbus, Ohio, looking for a kidney for her son.
Norma Bricky, who's 82, starts up her SUV and drives it around with a sign on the back windshield that reads, "My son needs a kidney, O positive."
I'll do whatever it takes.
Her son, 63-year-old Val Bricky, has been on dialysis for about 2 years.
I just deal with it as best I can.
His mom put their phone number on the sign, and they're hoping to hit the jackpot.
Getting a kidney's like winning the highest lottery that's ever been paid out.
Now waiting for the perfect match. Mona Rivera, ABC News.
The new Italian right-wing government is facing protests of opposition for their latest policy, turning new immigrants away. They've already denied entry to more than 600 immigrants seeking asylum. Now let's get a check on traffic. Here's Mike Daniels live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Thank you, Taylor. Got a crash blocking the right lane in Shoulder. Loop 202 eastbound approaching 40th Street. Police and fire on scene, so definitely expect some delays in that area. And we've got a wreck at 24th Street just north of Pecos to watch out for. This report brought to you by AJ's Fine Foods. Cheers to the arrival of AJ's Summer Wine Spectacular. 40 exceptional wines selected by AJ's Cellar Masters, all $12.99 or less. AJ's Fine Foods, purveyors of the Summer Wine Spectacular. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
KTAR weather for the Valley. It's 77 degrees right now in Mesa. There's a strong chance of showers today and a potential for thunderstorms with a high of 91 and a low of 71. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air. I'm Taylor Kinnerup on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Bunker to Bunker, the golf show's famous two-person scramble, is headed to the Padre course at Camelback Golf Club on Saturday, July 21st, with mulligan proceeds benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Phoenix. Tourney includes golf lunch awards raffle and a bounce-back golf coupon, all for just $99. Play for the day or make it a staycation with our special JW Marriott Summer Swing. Stay and play rates at the iconic JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa, starting at just $99. Sign up today at bunkergolf.com.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
I don't really want to talk. I just want to listen to music.
I know. I was going to jam it out a little bit.
Yeah, man. It's a nice choice, Carrie. Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are KTAR Car Guys. Happy Father's Day weekend, and if you're, having little bricks come out because you haven't picked a Father's Day gift yet, I have some
bricks. I didn't get that one.
Pooping bricks. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay. Over the head, but it was
not that good.
Yeah, you missed that one, Dave.
So you got to get some Father's Day gifts. And, and your father's important. You want to really take care of him.
Most people have one.
So,
it didn't sound right either, but
no,
oh my
it didn't.
God. We're just, at some point we
forcing
had
it. All right. So I got some safe bets because you can go down to Acme Auto Parts. You can pick yourself up some jumper cables. Maybe Dad got a new car. Maybe he does a fresh set of jumper cables. Here's the deal on jumper cables, though. If you're going to buy jumper cables, don't buy the crappy ones. Make sure they're long enough. And make sure they're thick enough.
Heavy
jumper cables, because some jumper cables don't work when they're like, 28 gauge.
Jumper wires, yeah.
Yeah, no sense. They're nice to have in your trunk because they look good back there, but they ain't gonna do crap.
I don't like jumper cables though, Dave. I like the little battery boxes. Those things. When the first time I saw one, there's not much bigger than an old VHS cassette recorder or maybe Beta, if you remember those. Most people, a lot of people don't these days. But that thing is so amazing. It will start the car on a dead car, but you can use it to charge your iPhone, throw it in your briefcase, or if you travel. Those are cool. But, other stuff like wash and wax kit.
If your dad wears cufflinks, you can get speedometer cufflinks. That's pretty cool, right? If he's a car guy, he's going to appreciate speedometer
checkered
cufflinks.
Flag cufflinks, those are.
Oh, yeah, even better.
Cool.
Even better. But, the wash kit, you mentioned the wax. The wash kit, to me, here's a wash kit. A bucket, a wash mitt, the big soft wash mitt.
A brush, the brush for the bugs and the wheels.
And then there's a little sponge that has a little netting around it. That's for getting the bugs off. Mm-hmm. One of those. And then, what am I missing? And some soap. Car wash soap, not Palmolive, because last week we talked about body shop guys. I said, no Palmolive.
There's no bueno.
That's a big no-no. So wash kit, all-weather floor mats maybe. Get some all-weather floor mats.
WeatherTech makes killer floor mats. They fit nice.
Carrie mentioned this. Maybe a sports car rental. Maybe your dad's going through a midlife crisis and you don't want him to go over the top and buy himself a convertible. Maybe just rent him one for the day.
Like I did.
Matt just bought a convertible. He bought some old Porsche.
So speaking of which, another one, if your husband or dad has an old car, I just learned this because I've been looking out for this old car and I finally got one the other day. You can go, if you can find at an antique shop or wherever, junkyard, an old Arizona license plate. Let's say, in my case, I bought a 73 Porsche. I want to try and find a license plate of the 73 vintage of that era. You can take that plate to DMV and have it reactivated and put it on the car. I think that's pretty cool. You got an old 55 Chevy or, 70, whatever. You make up your car, your Camaro. I think that'd be a pretty neat gift to get a old license plate and then have them be able to match that up to the car.
My neighbor Bob, his whole garage is plastered with old license plates. Maybe you can find a Bob's place.
I can come over and buy one. I could do a little bit of bartering.
Hey, Bob, you don't know me. I'm Matt.
But Dave said.
So anyway, you can get that knocked out. Take care of Dad. And anyway, we got to get to the phone calls here. We've got we're gonna go back to Joanne. We've got Mike. We've got Josh. We got Tom. And we got Adam. But let's go with Joanne. She's got the 2003 Cadillac Seville. Hey, Joanne, are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
All righty.
How can we help you?
Well, I've been driving for over 70 years, and I never have ever had problems with my trunk. And of course, originally we used a key, but everything's electronically now. And yesterday when I opened the trunk, it just didn't have a right kind of sound to me. So I investigated, and I noticed that the lock has like two little arms that come out and lock it and open it. And I was wondering if you could recommend some place other than where garage.
What's your major cross streets where you live?
56 and Cactus and Tatum and Shea and.
You're right, that's where I live, by the way. But that's
where I grew up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's your home address, and I'll bring my car over and park it at your house.
That one I
Joanne.
am not gonna give you. Yeah, she's pretty spunky for as many years as she's been driving.
Yeah.
You're on the ball.
Yeah.
Kerr Morgan, Shadow Mountain
Auto Care, 32nd Street in Shea. You cannot go wrong.
32nd and Shea,
Yep.
and it's called
Shadow Mountain Auto Carriers, right next to the McDonald's and the old, it's called Black Rock Bouldering, but it used to be Stool and Diet factory.
Yeah,
years
right,
ago.
okay.
Yep.
Because it's somebody that knows this electronic business, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah. They'll be able to take care of it for you. I'm sure they provide shuttle service and get you a ride home or whatever.
What can I expect to pay, Dave?
I wouldn't venture to guess. Hopefully, it's not too big a deal, but let them check it out. But I don't want to.
Yeah.
I could guess. I don't want to guess wrong. I don't want to.
Well, I took it all apart. Except
Yeah, man.
What a job.
Yeah, and then I got down to seeing these when I saw all these wires coming to, of course, because there's about 2 or 3 places where you can push the button and it'll open,
Right.
before you get, if you get locked up in the trunk somewhere before you die.
Oh, yeah.
She's practicing for that.
For sure.
But
so anyway, I thought I better not touch the electronic business.
yeah, let them handle it for you. That might just give them a call, and they'll walk you through whatever their specific process
And again,
is.
that's Kurt. It's Shadow Mountain. Kurt or his team at Shadow Mountain Auto Repair. You can find them on our website, bumper2bumperradio.com. And for anyone listening, if you're looking for a shop because you don't have one to call home, there's plenty of great shops at bumper2bumperradio.com. So thanks so much for the call, Joanne. Let's go with looks like Josh. He's got a 2002 GMC Sierra 2500. Josh, is yours a diesel, or how can we help you?
No, it's a 6.0 liter. What my concern is, I just bought it. It had 154,000 miles on it, so I figure I should go through and do all the fluids. And in doing a little research, I found that the transfer cases on these are known to get something called pump rub.
Oh yeah, that's a big problem. We love those.
And so it doesn't appear to be showing any signs of it currently.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured while I'm in there doing, $50 worth of oil into it or whatever, maybe I should pull that apart and put one of those kits in.
Yeah, you can.
Was there one that you suggest? There's like an expensive $100 one that's like milled aluminum, and then there's another one that's just a little piece of metal that's been stamped out to fit in there. Is one better than another?
The $30 or $40 one works perfectly fine. So yeah, you actually save yourself a lot of money, and by doing that ahead of time. But the transfer case will have to come out, and you have to split it apart. Some people try and take them apart in the car. I'm not a fan. But yeah, it just fits right in there, and you don't need the $100 one.
So that's
overkill.
The little kit, the gas
General
kit.
Motors used a little piece of spring steel, so anything's an upgrade from that. So
okay.
For sure.
And then I was considering AMSOIL fluids to put in the front end, the rear end, the transfer case, the transmission, all of those. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know that, for me that I would do it if it was my car, and I don't know really the science behind the AMSOIL. I haven't taken out and had it tested.
Okay.
But, that would be a, topic. We need to have Jason back from Lab 1 to kind of talk to us about that.
I don't know. Again, I don't know too much about the AMSOIL products themselves. They're supposedly a really good oil that can last a long time. I'm not a big fan of stretching the oil change because we have good oil as far as the engine goes. Transmission, same thing. You definitely want to have the added protection. I'm a big believer in synthetics for that reason. I think it's the difference if something goes wrong, you have some kind of pump failure or other kind of lubrication failure. Doesn't matter where it is.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the difference between a catastrophic failure and just replacing a bearing. So whether it's AMSOIL, we use Redline at my shop. It doesn't matter, but just use a good quality fluid and keep an eye on it.
Well, the fact that he's servicing it, he's already ahead of half the crowd. You know, some people never service their differentials, and that's something. We're doing a lot of differential bearings, and I kind of wish people would service them.
Well, and he's also the kind of guy you can tell, if he's going 10,000 miles on the AMSOIL oil, I'm sure he's using a good oil filter. That's where people go wrong. They put this great oil in, and they put a $1.45 oil filter on the car, and it can't filter the oil after a few thousand miles, so everything's bypassing. So all that great synthetic fluid isn't doing anything. Make sure you use a good fluid, and he's a do-it-yourselfer, so he's going to keep on top of it. So I'm not so concerned about his oil going too long.
Well, for sure. When we come back, we've got Adam, and we've got Rich, and we got one more coming through. You're listening to Matt and Dave, Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
There is nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock here for Kurt's Auto Repair. I've brought my nephew and general manager, Jeff Rock, to help spread the word.
Thanks, Pops. Yep, the more things change, the more they stay the same at Kurt's. Family owned and operated, our ASE Master Techs and family ethics have earned us a perfect Better Business Bureau record for over 30 years. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue in Bell or online at mycarhurts.com.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic, if your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, Kevin Rowe from I-17 Collision in Phoenix. If the bad news is you've had an accident, the good news is that with one easy click on bumpertobumperradio.com, you have the best collision, body, and paint shops to help you get back on the road quickly, safely, and with a repair you can trust.
Dave Lindgren here from First Class Auto Body in Scottsdale. Don't be fooled. Some insurance companies try to convince you that you must use their approved shops for your repairs. Not true. Arizona law allows you to choose the facility that's right for you.
And I'm Leo Petrozello from Campus Body Salon in Tempe. Having an accident is stressful enough. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Appearance is important, but it's critical that structural integrity and safety are top priority.
3 convenient locations and one united team. With almost 120 years of experience and expertise between us, we are solely focused on taking care of you while working with your insurance company. The Collision Team at bumpertobumperradio.com.
Arizona's news station, KTAR News, on 92.3 FM, KTAR.com, and streaming live on the KTAR News app.
Falling on my head like a memory, falling on my head like a new emotion.
It's kind of weird to see you dance to this song, Matt. It's not the song I think about you. Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen on this Father's Day weekend. And some tips about buying gifts for Father's Day. And if you really wanted to spend a ton of money on your father, and this is way more than a Father's Day gift should be, but you could take him to like Bondurant School of Driving. You know, they got like a race course over there, you know.
Dave, it's all relative.
It's all, yeah, right?
You know, some people,
right?
Yeah. Just depends on how deep they are. The pockets.
Well, some people have deep pockets but short arms. You know, a little Tyrannosaurus can't quite get into those deep pockets.
They're really deep, but they still got that first dollar they made. One of those.
Yeah, exactly.
So, speaking of Father's Day, before I forget, my dad lives up in Nevada, but oftentimes he listens on the podcast or listens on the KTAR app, which you can do. So if you're not in your car, or if you're in the passenger in a car and someone else is listening to something else, you can just fire up the KTAR app and listen to our show instead of that garbage on the other radio station. But anyway, so happy Father's Day to my dad, Tom Allen, up in Nevada. And my daughter's up there visiting with him for the summer, having a heck of a time out in the boonies.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, let's go with Adam. He's got a 2004 Isuzu Ascender. That's a word I have a hard time spelling, Isuzu. I still write it on an invoice. I'm like, I don't even know how to spell it. Anyway, how can we help you, Adam? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good afternoon. We had a problem with the Ascender. I was in traffic, stopped at a red light, and the engine just shut down, shut off. I turned the key off, turned it right back on, it fired right up. All the warning lights came on and went right off. I took it to an auto parts store where they read the memory, and there was no code in there for anything being wrong. So I said, well, maybe you just had a brain freeze for a second. Then the other day it happened, the same thing happened again. Stopped at a red light, all the air was on, all, accessories on, the RPM was low, but it just quit. Stopped, turned the key off to the up position to restart it up, and no further problems yet. But
will it stall every time you come up to a stoplight, or is it more if you're coming to an abrupt stop, or what if you just kind of cruise through the neighborhood and decide you want to pull over to text because you never do that while you're driving? Would it stall for you?
No, it's only happened twice, and both times have been in stops at a red light in traffic.
And does it stall immediately after you stop, or you're idling for 30, 40 seconds and then it stalls?
I think it was at a red light, so maybe after a few seconds.
Okay. Well, I guess, not enough information. That is pretty much a vehicle very similar to the Chevy Trailblazer. All kinds of different possibilities. I would start to look for things that you think can affect it, because that's what's going to be helpful when you end up taking it to a shop for diagnosis. You might say, try driving it without the AC for a little bit and see if it stalls then, and see if you can make it do it by driving with the air conditioning on. Just because there's no codes doesn't mean that we can't diagnose it. Like we talked about the check engine lights in the beginning, we need to go through and look at what's happening depending on what type of throttle system it has, how many idle air control counts they are, what different manifold pressures look like, determine if we have a vacuum leak, or maybe we have a throttle body that's sticking a little bit. They get really carboned up and almost like asthma for your car, if you will. If that throttle body is really nasty and dirty, not enough air gets in the engine, and that could choke it off or cause it not to idle. A number of different things. You need to start looking for patterns and commonalities so somebody can diagnose it.
Yeah, and you've got an intermittent issue. Intermittent issues can be fixed. One of the things we do, if customers got a real intermittent issue, let's just say your car died twice over the past 6 months, that might be a little harder to find. But let's just say, you can pick up some sort of pattern. We give out an event log at our shop. Every time it happens, just write down these few pieces of information, because it's one of those deals where you can bring that information to the technician. He's going to be miles ahead versus if he didn't have any of that information. Mm-hmm. So intermittent issues, because, Matt, you're kind of heading down the air and fuel thing. We could have a electrical component that's just, like he said, going brain dead for a minute.
Fart, yeah.
So a sensor that goes offline momentarily it causes a car to stall. So it can certainly be fixed, and it didn't, But what a good technician's going to do, depending on the rate of frequency, if we can make it happen or duplicate it, he's going to just start hooking up test tools at different things.
You know what? And just on a little side note, I get the phone call sometimes, and I've even been accused of it too. Well, you guys can't fix it. You haven't been able to figure it out. Intermittent problems you don't really, on an intermittent problem, a lot of times you don't go try and fix what it is. You go verify what it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know yet, but we know a lot of these other things. This tested good. We're going to go look at systems that can affect that, or what our experience tells us. But don't beat up on your shop. I don't care if it's mine or anybody else's. It's not that you can't fix an intermittent problem. We have to have it. It's like going to the doctor. You want to present. We need to see or feel what's happening, unless there's just some blatant,
We had
problem.
One the other day. This is what you never want to happen. But the guy brought the car to the shop. I didn't back up. No reverse. Okay, we jump in it. We drive it. Got reverse. Everything works great. We call the customer and say, it's doing everything it should be doing. He comes down, takes it for a drive with our technicians, working great. We give him the car back. He breaks down 10 miles later. And it's kind of like, you look great today, you could have an aneurysm tomorrow. What are you going to do? Right. So, some of that stuff does come up. But anyway, thanks for the call, Adam. Good luck with that. We're going to go with Ronnie on he's got a 2006 GMC 2500. How can we help you, Ronnie? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, I got a check engine light that comes on only when I'm hauling a fifth wheel trailer. Dry weight's probably about 6,700 pounds. Once I pass the Globe going into San Carlos, the canyon there, it comes on and it stays on until I get to my destination.
Is this gas or diesel?
Gas.
Okay. Have you had it scanned by Acme Auto Parts, or do you have one of those scanners?
No.
Well, again, what's happening now, Ronnie, does it do that without a load on the trailer?
No.
No? Okay. See, that's difficult because you can't bring the car to my shop or most others with 10,000 pounds on the trailer and go drive it. So the first thing we need, and we may not need to have a load on it, so to speak. We might be able to duplicate the problem, or if there is a code set that may give us enough information to back into it a little bit and go to that system. But it's just so much nicer when you can replicate the problem before you start. You don't want to just get run down a rabbit hole. But I was looking at your phone number. You say Globe. I'm assuming maybe you're over in the East Valley. ADS, Automotive Diagnostic Specialties, they have that not many shops have. They have an engine dynamometer. They do a lot of performance testing on that.
Oh, yeah.
But the other thing they can do,
load that thing up.
They can put it on the dyno, and without leaving the shop, they can load that thing down and load it as if you're hauling a 15,000-pound trailer or whatever it is, and they can simulate those towing conditions for you, and that might just be what it takes. But we've got to start with finding the code, test driving, maybe clear the code to replicate until it replicates again, or just going off and doing diagnostics and systems based off our experience.
For sure. Thanks for the call, Ronnie. Let's go with Rich. He's got a 2009 Infiniti G37. How can we help you, Rich? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Oh, thanks, guys. Like I said, 2009. It's got about 160,000 miles. I am the original owner. Just finally got around to changing spark plugs. We put the original Denzos back in there, and the old ones that came out were fine. Looking to do the transmission fluid. And it's what do they call it, a special Nissan Matic fluid that's synthetic. And the book says
Matic
sealed.
K.
Yeah, it's a sealed lifetime, and there's no interval that says to change it unless you have the 5-speed, which was in the 2008s or earlier, I think. So I'm wondering at this point, there's no issues with it, but I'm kind of on the edge of, should I really just let it stay in there? It's a car. I don't tow, not like a truck, towing it and overheating it kind of a thing.
This is an automatic transmission, correct?
Yes, yeah. It's a 7-speed automatic, and you can drain it yourself, but you need like a special tool to pump it into the overflow slash, like an overflow port, and you need a computer to monitor when you're filling it.
It's not your father's Oldsmobile anymore, is it?
No, and if I had some nice a pit to work on, I would attempt to do it myself because I like to, but it's one of these things I got to take it somewhere if I really should do it or just drive it and let it go.
We can banter that out for a minute here, Dave. I mean, there's no such thing as a sealed transmission. We'll just start with that.
That's like a unicorn. I'm still looking for one. I just still haven't found it, but it is one of those things. No transmission service is better than a bad transmission service. Let's just start with that. So, it's an expensive investment to have to buy a transmission. You don't want to buy one, okay? So I don't know that I'm going to take it down to Acme Car Wash and have the transmission serviced. I think it needs to be serviced by a transmission professional. That's my number one because, what we do at our shop is we go drive it, see how everything's working, look at the clutch close times, look at the clutch volumes, all that stuff. Before we service it, we're going to look at the oil, see, does it need to be serviced? Maybe it's wearing fine, maybe it doesn't need that. So there's a little bit more science to it than that.
Well, and sometimes you drive the car into the shop. We can't even check your transmission fluid to the next day because it's never going to cool down to the right. It has to be checked between, 127 and 132.5 degrees. You miss that window, you're a little bit out of luck. So you overfill, you got leaks. You underfill, you're slipping. So again, it's got to be done right.
For sure. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for running the dials, and happy Father's Day weekend. We'll see you next week.